Hi everybody, I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors, and this is episode number 16. Lucky number 16, sweet 16. I want to do a special thanks today to Beeb at The Soofster and Every Day is June for their fantastic iTunes reviews. You guys, it just makes me feel so validated when you leave me an iTunes review. Just do me this solid. Just leave me one. Just leave it for me because I give you this podcast and what I want in return is your iTunes reviews because it makes me feel so loved. And that's really why I became an actor, so I could feel loved. So do me that solid. Also, special thanks to Megan Cochran and Megan McLeod for their shares on social media. Really helps me out when you guys do that. The podcast is doing so great. I'm getting such great feedback. I'm so happy that you guys are enjoying it. And I just love it so much when you share it. Do me a solid. If you haven't shared it with a single friend yet, if you haven't been like, hey, singular friend that I have, hopefully you have one, here is this podcast that I really think you should listen to. I want you to do that now. Just take the link, share it, and give it to somebody. Text them is really great. Email it to them, post it on social media, but just like a singular person and be like, hey, I want you to listen to this. I do this for you. Please share. So today's episode, we are talking to Jerry Ying and Vanessa Celso Anderson. These are two of the loveliest people, I have to say, and they are actor parents. We are going to discuss what it's like being an actor, being a parent. I'm doing this episode. It's one of the first ones I recorded because it really warms my heart. You know, so many people have dreams of becoming parents, and becoming an actor in the middle of that, just like any career, is, life-changing. And I wanted to talk to some people about how they've managed it, if they've managed it. And I wanted a male and a female. I wanted somebody with young kids and somebody with kids a little bit older. Jerry has a 10-year-old daughter, and Vanessa has 2 kids under 4. I think it's lovely, even if you're not a parent, even if you have no intentions on becoming a parent, their attitude is so great and their perspective is so great. And we talk a lot about the stigma of women in Hollywood, particularly women with children. And it's so shocking to hear Jerry talk about how he doesn't have to deal with a lot of the same issues. And of course he doesn't, because he doesn't get pregnant and then have a baby. So I thought that was really fascinating. And also Jerry, you guys, he's so pumped up. You're just going to love listening to Jerry because he's such a pumped up guy. So enjoy. And next week's episode is going to be so good, you guys. Okay. I hope you're on your way to an audition. Audrey helps actors because they don't know anything. Okay, so I'm Audrey Moore. Audrey Helps Actors. Welcome, everyone. Today we have
Vanessa Celso and
Jerry Ying.
And we are going to talk today about being actor parents. Yay!
Wait, that's why I'm here?
How many children do you have? Give us the stats.
I have 2 kids. I had 2 kids under 2 years old. So I have an 8-month-old and a almost 2.5-year-old.
So crazy.
It's insane.
Brave and crazy.
It's insanity.
Cool. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And for you, Jerry?
I have one 11-year-old daughter.
Wonderful.
And 2 dogs.
And 2 dogs. Very good.
They count.
That they do count. They take a lot of care.
They are needy little bitches.
And let's just talk about how we know each other. Vanessa and I, we
studied together
in acting class.
And then became buds.
We did. We became close to friends.
I know. We just fell in love.
Jerry, you know Vanessa from?
We share a wall.
We do. We share.
We live in a duplex in Los Feliz.
Really great.
We started as neighbors, but we became family.
Ah, very good.
Our families.
It's possible.
Men.
Previous to having kids, let me ask you, how far had you gotten, both of you, as an actor?
Yeah, SAG I've been since 1999
Okay.
in New York. Started working commercials immediately. But prior to Chase being born, I had moved out here and I was basically just surfing 4 days a week and golfing 5 days a week and still making money, but
Sure.
I had to take a year off because of her, because it was just untenable to bring her to auditions.
Yes.
But in that year, I realized what am I doing? What did I train for? I need a career. I can't just keep walking into commercial auditions and having my resume not matter.
That's really great.
Because you show up with someone that just started yesterday,
It's true.
doesn't matter.
Right.
You know?
In commercials, it doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah, once in a while you get a leg up. Maybe you've worked with the director before or
or
whatever.
you have some legs up as far as opportunities are concerned because you have relationships with casting
Right.
directors,
Right.
maybe, and so they bring you in more frequently.
But for the most part,
Right.
you're on the same playing field.
That's
and
right.
so I started just throwing myself into like any short film I can get myself into. Mm-hmm. So that was what Chase kind of did for me.
Sort of that transition.
Yeah,
I've actually heard that. I mean, I have friends who, I have a girlfriend who said like the best thing that can happen to actor men is actually for them to get married and have kids.
Wait, get married was...
Get married and have kids.
I said just kids.
Just kids.
Yeah,
In whatever order
get married
you
part
want
has
to do.
hurt my
Yeah,
career.
that's all your thing. Okay, good. Okay, good. We'll tell her. We'll tell her. But she
Sorry,
said
Trish.
that for men, she felt like men are providers. And it's easy for male actors to sort of, like you were saying, surf and chill and all that. And that once they have families, they're like, damn it, I have to do something. And then they focus.
Well,
and
your situation is interesting because you were the stay-at-home caregiver, right?
Yes.
Like, primarily.
But because you were the actor, right?
Yeah, because I was the actor, and I mean, I did both. I was also making the money, but I was also with Chase every day. My wife had a job, and it's great to have that stability. But the day-to-day drop off to school, the milk,
Right,
all
yeah,
that
like
stuff
all that stuff was...
Yeah, that's what I've discovered is that
that was the stressful part.
yeah, I've discovered that if there's two parents involved and one is like that go to work person and the other one is the actor, then the actor
will
becomes
The parent.
And
Yeah.
a lot of times I've noticed from my friends who have had kids or are about to have kids that is something they sort of knew was going to happen, but it affected them differently than maybe they thought it was going to, because it became more all-encompassing than maybe they were prepared for it.
I don't think you're aware even. Like that.
You have no idea what you're doing until you actually have kids. Like, it's so insane and it's so all-encompassing. Like, and for me especially, I completely checked out of my career. So before I had kids, I had
and your kids are still young.
and my kids are still very young.
You're
so.
still young too.
She's in the thick of it.
I'm in the thick of it, but before I had my kids, I had my SAG card. I was getting out there. I was working here and there. I felt like I was on a good trajectory. I guess. Mm-hmm. I would get like series regular auditions every now and then, which were whatever. Like, it was things were happening.
I would say you were on a good trajectory.
I was on a good trajectory.
Yeah, you had booked some guest stars.
It was good.
You've plateaued just for now.
I've plateaued,
but it's gonna go back.
Part
up.
of what I'm so happy about having the two of you here is I did want like a male and a female perspective, also different age groups, because I do try to tell my friends like, when your kids get to be about 4 or 5 and things start to mellow out, then I have a lot of friends who are like, I quit. And I'm like, all right. And then they get to about like 4 on the dot and they're like, I just feel passion calling me again. And I'm like, all right. And I know that it's just that it's overwhelming in the moment. They're sort of in the weeds of it all. And once that eases up, that might change and grow for them. So I really wanted to have this perspective of the two of you. I thought that was really a good balance.
Do you know where I am right now with the child thing?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Chase does my taped auditions with me.
Oh God, it's so good.
And you know why
guys.
it's great? Because
So good.
there's no one judging me. She has no idea if I'm good or not. She does exactly what I want her to do. It goes down exactly how I want it to go for as long as I want it to go on for.
Yes, she's like happy to play with Dad, right?
And she's good.
Oh,
She's
God,
a better actress
so
than I am.
good. It's so good. That's so good.
So that's the end of the rainbow, guys.
Yeah, you guys just see the light.
I'm
the light at the end of
definitely
the
not near that at all.
rainbow.
But at the beginning, it was difficult because I had to stop because bringing a baby, trying to time naps with auditions,
I know.
I had to stop
that's
and
really
then
hard.
built a residual gap, meaning like that was difficult. Because even though you're making money, you think you're making money,
Yes,
but when you stop working for a little while,
that residual gap does happen.
that gap happens, and then you're like, oh my God, I have to. Then you feel like you just started again.
Yeah, you're like the gap that I'm in where I'm getting 20-cent checks.
That's such a good gap.
I just got a letter from like, I don't know, Entertainment Partners yesterday that was like, we have all these checks that you haven't cashed. Do you want us to reissue them? And it was like a list of like 17 cents, 20 cents, 13, $1.09. And I was like,
no.
That's
Fine.
funny.
That's really good. So I do want to talk about currently auditioning. So you, Jerry, are currently auditioning and you are currently on hiatus.
well, sort of. I mean, I kind of like emailed my commercial agent and I was like, listen, I'll go out I'll go out if you feel like sending me. Maybe if like my baby boy wants to come with me on something, I'm cool with that. Because he's like I would never have auditioned with Madeline being like her being on camera. Because she just never smiled.
That's the other thing.
And she like won't listen. Like she like I try to take a picture of her. She's like, no, mommy, no. But Miles, like, you, like, look at him and he just smiles. And he's, like, the happiest. He'll go to anybody. I'm like, he should be in a commercial with me at this point.
It's a zero-sum game. They're gonna lose you jobs as many as they get you.
Oh, that's cool.
That's usually what happens.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you, Jerry, you're currently auditioning?
I am.
Theatrically and commercially?
Yeah, theatrically, I'm auditioning. I got on a couple pilots this season, but it just co-star recurring. Yeah. Which is ideal for me. But yeah.
Good. And I want to talk about what your spouses do for a living, because I do feel that there is a difference between people whose spouses are also at home with them because they're either an actor or they're doing something where they work from home versus people whose spouses are out all day. So let's talk about that.
So my husband works in finance, so he's gone all day. Mm-hmm. But he used to be a creative type, so he's very... It's interesting because he understands, like, where I'm at in terms of, like, having, like, stopped everything. Mm-hmm. So he's very, like, understanding of all that and how I miss it and how I want to get back to that. And he's not like, I work in finance. I don't know anything about the creative world. Like, what is this acting thing that you do? Like, so it's kind of cool. But I am alone with the kids all day, and... That's where the struggle comes in. I feel like if he did work from home, I'd be able to maybe start up more of a career right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my experience with people who have some sort of whatever that is.
Because I could be like, hey, you have an hour to hang out. I'm going to go do this.
Right.
I don't have that right now.
Right. Mm-hmm. Even like if you're both kind of working from home, you can sort of manage that. Right. Like, I'm going to go to an audition for 3 hours.
Sure.
You watch the kid for those 3 hours, and then I will come back and watch the kid while you're doing your job. Right.
No, my wife works for a living. And she asks me every year if she could stop working, and I'm like, the daytime is my time. It's always been my time. Don't mess with that.
I mean, this is our house right now. Yesterday morning, we opened our 2 doors, like, because, like, we're right across from each other, and Jerry's doing yoga in his living room, and Madeline, my 2-year-old's in there with him, drinking her smoothie, doing yoga with Jerry, while I'm, like, in the other, like I said, while our spouses are at
the daytime is my time.
Yeah, that's good. And then what about family? Because I also try to tell people what is... And just so you know, we're having people who listen to this podcast, I think, who are graduating from college and even considering life as an actor. And for a lot of them, they're already considering, like, the lifestyle they want in general, becoming parents and getting married and all those sorts of things. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, you have this plan to become an actor, and then you also have a dream to become a parent, right? Did you both have that? And was that something that you felt like you needed to put off, or
I think that
wait till the time was right? Like, what was the story with that?
I always wanted both. Uh-huh. I don't think I understood what that meant until I had kids, though. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like, I always wanted, I was like, I'm going to be in a series, it's going to be great, and then I'm going to have a family, and then my family's going to be on set with me, and it's going to be like this, like, you know, like this, like, fantasy
like
of, like...
Us Magazine.
Yeah, right. And then I had kids, I'm like, I don't know if I want to be a series regular anymore. Yes. Like, I would love to be, like, the waitress in a show that, like, comes in every couple episodes, says, like, 3, 4, 5 lines a page, maybe, and then leaves. I can go be with my family.
Yes.
I can still have my creative outlet.
I have friends who are like, a Nick Mom sounds really good. Because you're like, work from 9 to 3.
Exactly.
When the kids are at school, because they have to work school hours, and then you have like an hour for lunch, and you tape on Fridays.
Exactly. Uh-huh. Like those,
What about you, Jerry?
What was the question again?
Were you like a student of theater and drama and thinking like, yes, no. And I also want to have children and a family and all that?
No, none to all of that. I never thought about being an actor. That kind of came really late in my life. I think I didn't go to drama school till I was 27.
Oh, okay, great.
And yeah, I never really... But now I have a career. I think I fooled everyone in Hollywood. Okay. And had a career. And as far as the family, I never really thought about that either. But it's all worked out really nicely.
Typical dude.
Yeah, just like a guy. But it's funny because, like...
happened.
But, you know, to what you guys were just saying, you know, we were driving over here and I had a series regular audition last week that I turned down because I don't think I want that level of commitment anymore. I kind of just want these 2 recurrings to go on, and because I'm so focused now on my production company and and all
other
that.
things in the work.
The entrepreneurial side of me has completely woken up. You know, when I've worked on TV shows, I've worked with a ton of number ones, and I've always been like, man, I'm not you. You were born to do this.
You just know, like, you're not supposed to be number one on the call sheet. That's what he means, you guys. Number one on the call sheet. Oh, number one
on the call sheet. Yeah, I mean, it's not that I'm not supposed to. I just look at them, I'm like, you guys are so freaking... like, a film, feature film, yes, I could be a one. I've been a one before.
But the 24-hour,
but TV,
24 episode...
going, it's so in you, and that's... I don't have that ability, let's just say.
It's interesting, because I do want to talk about that. Before that, I do want to ask you, though, about family support. Do you guys have family nearby? What's the story with that, as far as either you or your spouse's family?
Nearby?
Yeah, like in Los Angeles, able to help with the kids.
No, none.
Not really. Like, my mom's in California. She comes when I need her, but...
Yeah, I just would like to tell people that, too, because, you know, when you have children in another profession and you live near your family, that's a really big thing. And my friends, when they start having kids, I'm like, you're going to want your mom nearby, because in all other communities, I feel like you are near your family, and so you go to work or you have these things, and then if something happens, like grandma's nearby or your sister's nearby or any of that, and so you can schlep them off to that.
You can, like, and it's a hugely important, I think, especially with the little ones that I have right now. Like, I can't just call somebody and be like, I need you to come over. Like,
and you have two.
And I have two.
Under 3
years old. So, but I think what's interesting about having kids in LA and having kids a little later in life, I'd be considered having kids in a creative town where not everybody's from here. Like, I've built sort of a nice mom crew and friend family of people that get it. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a parade of moms in the backyard.
And so I have, like, my people that are around, which is nice.
And I would say that you really built that, because I have friends who I don't feel that they have that in the same way. And that is hard. I do think having your career and juggling what you were saying about having TV shows and what kind of parts that you want. But wait, Vanessa and Jerry, wait. I have to interrupt you.
It's time for Shit Your Reps Won't Tell You. Real advice from real agents.
Just kidding, I lied to you. This isn't about agents. This is a little section I'm doing called Jesse Doesn't Shoot Reels Anymore. Sorry. He's got bigger projects, and it was sort of something that people were, like, asking of him at that time, and he was sort of like, sure, I'll do that. You know, why not? But it became clear that, you know, his career was growing above and beyond that. So he doesn't do them anymore, and I know that's hard because you guys keep asking me. I'm getting, like, several a week to ask about that. And you also ask me if I can recommend anyone to you. And I have to tell you, I cannot recommend anyone to you. Part of what worked really well about what Jesse and I did was people would come over and I would meet with them with Jesse and I would discuss their casting. And then because I'm such a TV whore, I would, like, know what sorts of things they would be cast in right now as, like, a co-star or a guest star or whatever it is, based on the footage of their needs, whether they're trying to get a better agent or they're trying to get bigger roles or they're just trying to get a credit. And we would come up with scene ideas, and then Jesse would go and he would write them for the person, and then he would shoot it, and I would handle, like, wardrobe, and then he would edit it. The fact is everyone that we can tell who's doing those reels, they're not putting in the care that I really believe that they should be putting into to really get specific. I mean, Jesse was really getting shot for shot identical looks from what is on television, and he was watching a show and then copying the framing, copying the lighting, the editing style, the writing style. And what I've noticed from these other reel places is they just don't do that. They write you, like, a sort of scene and they kind of light it and they sort of put sound and maybe some music under it. And I can't recommend that to you. I really recommend, if you are interested in getting some really great footage, you know, you're going to have to work on it. It's expensive. It's a hard thing. And it requires a lot of different skills. And if you're going to try to make something look like Scandal, but you're not going to have ABC, then it's really hard to match. There's ways around it. I mean, you heard Ashley talk about making her own short film. You know, that's what Falk did originally, is he hired Jesse years ago to do a short film, and they turned that into the reel. What I will say is that Jesse is available for hire for writing. He writes films for people all the time. He's commissioned to do that all the time. He is available for hire for directing things. He doesn't often take things that he has offered, but he is always interested in considering new projects. So if you have a feature or a short film that you are looking for somebody of quality to do, feel free to get in contact with him. He's not cheap. And I really recommend growing independently your own base and group of people that you respect and admire as far as that side of the camera is concerned. You want to find a sound person, you want to find a makeup person, you want to find a hair person, you want to find a writer, you want to find a lighting guy, you want to find a DP, you want to find directors. Like, you want to be building your group at all times. Jesse and I are constantly doing that. We have like a list of people that we love, that we work with, that we want to work with, that we've worked with in the past. And that's a really important thing to do in this town. That's how careers really get built. And that's how careers get sustained. So I'm sorry to say he doesn't shoot reels. He might shoot your feature. And certainly you can hire him to write something. If you'd like to do that, you can email him at jesselumen@gmail.com. JESSELUMEN@gmail.com. He's very talented. He's gotten me lots of work.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
How did your reps react when you first told them that you were pregnant, either of you?
They were super happy for me.
Great.
But then my theatrical agent just, the company folded.
Timing.
So I was like, well, I'm not going to go seek new theatrical rep right now. I'm about to have...
Hey, I can't audition for 3 years.
Yeah, you want to sign me?
Right.
That's really funny.
That is
yeah.
I never even thought about telling my reps. I guess as a guy.
Well, as a guy, you don't have to.
It doesn't really matter.
But that's part of why I have both of you here. It's because I think it's a different consideration. I mean, I was on a show this summer, and just part of what I noticed, which I thought was really fascinating, was there was like a gang of men, and then there was a town of women, and many of the men had children and none of the women did.
Oh.
And the men's wives took care of the children and none of the women had kids.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so interesting, just as far as like a gender dynamic, and all great people, anything about anyone, just sort of as a sort of gender roles and what happens. I thought that was really... How this industry handles that.
Which is, I feel like maybe a whole other podcast for you.
Sure. Yeah, it's very... I just thought it was very interesting. A lot of the women were, I'd say, like, quite young, and maybe not young as far as, like, having children in middle America standards, but having children in LA standards, But I just thought that was really interesting because it was a 3 to 4 month commitment where they had to be in another state.
Yeah.
And they had to commit to being on a show. And I just thought, I don't know that would be realistic for my friends who have children. But I did think of the men, and I was like, that would happen, that the men could go work and the women could go with them.
And, I guess if you get your career to a certain point, like I just worked with JK Simmons, and from what I hear, he doesn't take jobs that are out of town. Like, if you can make that sort of... choice. Yeah.
Or you come to a place...
To be closer to his family, that specifically.
And also, or you are making enough money that nanny and all that is included as part of it. Yeah. And that is another thing.
So many shows that shoot everywhere now. Like Vancouver, Atlanta. I have certain friends that just can't for the life of them book a show in
Los
LA.
Angeles,
Like they're series regulars, but they have to literally live somewhere else.
For like 8 months.
Yeah, for a long time.
And that's a real consideration. And that is changing now that Netflix has done what it's doing. I think people are starting to realize, like, we want quality. Mm-hmm. And quality means the talent should feel their best. And for them to feel their best, like, they should be able to hear.
Well, then Netflix and other streamers should start paying properly.
Well,
that's another podcast.
But that's another podcast. And also, like, it's all in progress, right? Like, it's what they're having to do is compete for talent. And as they do that right now, it's like, all right, well, you can work in LA though, and so everyone's gonna be like, cool, I don't care what you pay me, just so long as we're in LA.
So as long as I can.
And then as that becomes evened and more people come back to LA, then they'll be like, but I'll pay the best.
To go back to the pregnancy thing, it's interesting because I know people that have had very successful careers, got pregnant, and then were told not to say anything.
Yes.
Even though they are successful, because there is still a weirdness in Hollywood about
To their partners or to their managers?
to their managers, to the people that hired them on this TV show, whatever. Don't say anything. We don't want anybody to know you're pregnant because we don't want you to be a liability. We don't want you to, for however many reasons.
Well, it's cost, right?
Yeah, and wait till we get a second season, then maybe
Yes. That's very normal here.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a lot of it. Why a lot of women don't end up, why they choose one or the other.
I've had experience with that. I mean, I talked to a guy who was below the line, and he was talking about a show and an actress that was a lead on that show, and she got pregnant in the middle of the show. And he said to me, he was like, because she required a lot of extra attention because they had to frame the camera differently, and they had to wardrobe her differently, and they had to do makeup differently, all this stuff to sort of make her look like she wasn't pregnant, even though she was. And he was like, yeah, I just think that's so inconsiderate. And I thought he was talking about the way that other people were reacting. And he was like, no, it was inconsiderate that she got pregnant in the middle of the show.
Right, and that's the issue.
And I was so floored
it's that mentality.
by that point of view. And I was like, what? And I didn't say anything. I was like,
That's flabbergasting.
And even it was even after I had Madeline, I was like, I look great. I was like the skinniest I had ever been because I had such horrible pregnancies. I was throwing up for 9 months.
Yeah.
But I was like, I could work right now, but like I had a weird thing on it. I was like, then I have to ask them if I could pump milk on set because I'm breastfeeding, and like, how do I make this work? Like, I can't be, like, there's all these like considerations that you're like, I don't want to be inconsiderate,
which is just terrible.
Which is terrible because it should just be a norm. Like, if you book a job, you should be okay.
And
I mean, TV's different than film, though. It's just a different world.
And commercials are different than all of that.
And that's even different.
Yeah, but all that happens after you have the kids. And so you're, as a woman, because you're like, okay, I guess I just won't do this right now.
I mean, I had a friend who had an experience with a commercial where it was one of those where they were going to book you for 5 days and it turned into like 8 or 10, which is great. As an actor, you're like, more days. Shoot me, But they would call her at like 10 or 11 at night and say, we need you tomorrow. But she has 2 kids under 5. And so she called me one day in a panic because her babysitters and all this, and her husband's got a real job. He can't just not work all the time. And so she called me in panic, and I said, listen, you have to tell them that you have children, that they will be coming on set with you, and a PA is going to have to watch them, because that is their job and your job combined, because they've given you no notice. They didn't tell you were going to work this day. So now it's up to you as the actor to demand what you need. And it is a very female thing, I think, to be like, I don't want to be an inconvenience. Totally. I don't want anyone to get mad at me. And also an actor thing of like, I'm just so happy to have a job. Yeah. And I said the difference between the seasoned actors and the more novice actors, the seasoned actors know that it's your job to demand what you need and know who has the power to make. Like, don't be a bitch and don't be an asshole. But in that particular situation, she had the cards. They needed her for an extra day. It was a surprise day, and she had children she needed to take care of. Mm-hmm. And so she was the one who had the power, and she needed to ask for that, and she did. But it took a lot of her crying on the phone for several hours and being in panic for her to come to that decision.
There's a lot of both. There's going to be a lot of scrambling, not just with young children, but even as they go through elementary school and picking up at school at 2:30.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of understanding as you get older. Like, productions work with each other. Like, when you have competing productions, they'll work with each other. They're going to work with you if you have a child. They're not going to not have you.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you have to be able to have... Like, you're going to stress a lot when you're not on the phone with them, trying to find a solution before you go to production. But when it comes down to it, you're going to be like, this is it. If you guys want me there, someone's going to have to be there to watch the kids. And they do. I've brought Chase to set. And you know what? People couldn't be, more gracious about it, especially the makeup and hair department. They're awesome with children.
That's been my experience too, is that if they want you, because here's the thing, they have kids too. And I think it's the attitude to which you bring to it. So if you're like insecure and apologetic and you feel bad and blah, 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 then that's the attitude that you're coming in with. But if you're like, I have kids, you want me, so this is the deal that's going to have to come to it.
There's something that you learn as you go along further in this industry. When they want you, it's not it's usually not close between you and the other person. It's you for a reason, and they've all agreed on you, and they'll do whatever it takes to get you there.
Especially now that it takes 16 people to approve you.
Yeah.
That if
So
they can
crazy.
manage 16 people to say yes to you, they don't want to have to go back
They don't
and
wanna go
ask
back and
those
count.
16 people
They don't want to go
again.
back and all of a sudden go through this entire process,
Yeah.
and when they've decided on you. Like
Yes, that's right.
And if you've ever been on the production side, you realize when you lose your number one choice, it's like, what are we going to do? We have to change our entire... We're not going to be able to meet what we wanted, so we got to go a completely different direction. And so it's a whole nother process. So,
Yeah,
yes.
that's really great.
You got to know that when they want you, it's you.
How do you think having children has affected your careers as actors at this stage right now? Go ahead.
Well, I don't have a
What career?
I currently don't have a career.
And do you see
I mean,
that-
I tell a lot of stories at home.
When I hang out with her, I feel like I'm hanging out with an actor.
Let me
But
ask
she
you this,
has
though.
no career.
Do you feel that that's something that as they get older, as they get into school, are you interested in going back? Like,
Yes, I am. And it's just changed, I think, my perspective on what I want and a little clarity on, like, I don't think I'll be as, like, desperate's a terrible word to use, but, you know, you're like,
desperate I think
is, like,
accurate.
really, like, pretty accurate for an actor. You're like, I just need an audition. I just want to
Yeah.
get, it's like, I don't think that's totally gone.
Yeah, something else that you actually have attention on.
I have my attention on something else. It's more important. It's
yes,
bigger
that's
than
right.
all of us.
That's right.
For me.
That's right.
So yeah, I think when I do go back, it will be really great and exciting because I feel like I'm coming back almost new. It's like a new thing.
Well, as you would be.
Yeah.
Right? As a new
Like,
person.
As a new person, with newfound clarity on it.
And what about you, Jerry?
I think I can't think of any direct correlation other than the overall experience has created a lot more empathy in me and made things less about me, which I think is the most healthy way to go through this industry.
I have a friend right now. He is like a Juilliard grad. He worked a lot, but he and his wife have been together for like 15 years, and she was just sort of like tick-tock goes the clock, right? And she used to be an actress, but has had a normal job for, I'd say, 5 years now. And he has a newborn baby, and he is at home. He is like crying, wondering like, where is his career? Like, what is he doing? What's he going to do? Because it's all encompassing. And I don't think that he expected that to be true. And he's tired, and then she's tired, and everyone's tired. So can you talk a little bit about, does that get easier as an actor? Like, any hope you might have for him?
All right, so prior to my daughter being born, I would like have an audition, and then I have to like buy toothpaste. I'd be like overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my God, that was enough for today. I need to go surf. But then, you know, after about a year or two into it, I was doing more by noon than I used to do in 2 weeks. And so I started multitasking, and I think that's really important to know that you can do way more than what your bubble allows you to at that moment. And a child will kind of force that. A family and a child will start forcing all that to expand, and before you know it, you know, I have this theory that every really successful person juggles 7 huge things at one time.
I think there's a second part to that answer too, which is an actor having a kid is different than I think somebody else having a child, because your career is all about you. You personally, you emotionally, you physically, like everything is you. It's not like you're doing a spreadsheet for somebody else at work, right?
For some other company,
Right.
for some other service.
So when you have a kid,
You're your own small business.
Right.
Yeah, your own.
You are literally. your
Yeah,
own
quite
business.
literally.
Yeah.
So I've seen this a lot with actors that have kids, is they have this child and they are just like, it's not about me at all. Like, I don't even have time to brush my teeth. And it's all about this other entity now in my world. And so I think a part of it is trying to let go of that, which can be very challenging for people. So it's like the multitasking and the knowing it's going to get better and you can do all of it. But then it's like the emotional part of it of like forgetting about you a little bit.
The me-centeredness and releasing
which
that.
is really hard for people to let go of.
You're only left stronger from the whole experience and more confident, I think.
I think so too. I mean, I have noticed from my friends that their whole attitude about acting calms down. It becomes less of the it's everything and it's all of my life, and less looking for it to solve everything, less looking for it to validate everything. They're getting a direct source of love from something else now, which is nice. And also, I do notice when they're ready to work again, they work.
Yeah.
And I think it's because, A, you're just so tired that you don't care, and not caring is really great for auditions because you sort of get out of your own way. You can just rely
you let
on
go finally.
You do. You can rely on your instincts and your impulses.
Television acting is like, it's about not acting. But you can't just show up in this town and just say, I'm not going to act. You have to go through it to be able to
just be present
and not do the, if they smell the acting, you're kind of done in a television audition.
So true.
But as a career, it's like you work so hard to want it, and you can't just show up and say, I don't want this.
It can't be faked.
No,
that's what's illegal.
So like you kind of go through it. You go through all the like sitting on the lot with your hand on your steering wheel for an hour, you know, early in your career, to realizing that there's no such thing as bombing an audition. Yeah, you'll bomb, but they'll call you back. You'll be back in that room.
It's
and
fine.
if not only that, they're going to keep bringing you back till they book you. And if they don't book you, then there'll be another casting director.
Yeah, there's an
and then you go through all of that to be like, it's all good.
Yeah,
well, children will bring clarity. And that's
right. Right.
One way or the other. Like, you either want this or you don't.
Because it's impossible to just care that much about every audition. It's just not good for your life.
It's exhausting.
No, it is
it's exhausting. So if you want to like, you know, have a good existence and you want to do it till you're old and still be a fun, cool, happy person.
Enjoy what you're doing.
Enjoy your life.
Uh-huh.
It's almost a defense mechanism to just be like, next.
Yeah, I think that's so great. And if you can get there, however you can get there, whether that's through kids or just through clarity or just through whatever, if you can get there as an actor, it really is a magical place. I definitely will affirm that. But wait, Vanessa and Jerry, wait. I have to interrupt you.
And now it's time for the new show rundown.
Today, on the new show rundown, we are going to talk about a show called Castle Rock. It is cast by Jeannie Bacharach. Jeannie Bacharach did Nashville, she did Preacher, she did Manhattan. She is a veteran casting director out here. This is a Stephen King collaboration with J.J. Abrams. There's like a little preview you can see on YouTube, though it doesn't like tell you a whole lot. Sort of like a VFX teaser. It basically is like Stephen King's world and different storylines taking place in all of those worlds. So that sounds really cool. It shoots in New England. So again, I'm trying to give you guys shows that don't just shoot in LA, but things that are casting out of the whole country, because I want everyone to be listening to this podcast and be interested in what shows are offered to you. So check it out. It sounds really great. And if you were on Nashville or Preacher or Snowfall or Manhattan, go ahead and, send a little something to your agent very, very modestly and just say, hey, just heard about this Castle Rock, looked it up on Deadline. Love me some Stephen King. I should be in some horror stuff. Go get that job. Book it. Oh, it's on Hulu, B2W. Book it. Book that Hulu job.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Any advice you guys have that would make it, you would have made it easier for you, or that you think you should advise other people? No.
I mean,
it's different for...
It's so different for everybody.
That's good.
But to your friend that has the newborn, like,
yeah.
it will, like...
It gets better.
It gets so much easier once they get a little older. Like, and then you realize, what the hell is 6 months of my life? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's nothing.
I think
it's a blink.
When you're in it, though, it feels overwhelming. But I'm always like,
it's nothing,
you'll
like...
get out.
Yeah.
And there's always work. Like, this industry's not going anywhere.
I tell
That's
people
what I
that
have
too.
to remind myself.
Yeah,
like,
this industry is not going
anywhere.
anywhere.
I might not be playing the young ingenue anymore, but they're still a part for me.
Not only that, I say, like, the parts for people that are a little bit older, a little bit, the non... Like, I'm just this 25-year-old stunning person. Like, the other parts when you mature and you have kids and your life changes, your body changes, and all that sort of stuff changes, those are really great parts. Yeah. They're really interesting parts. And also, we are lucky to be in a time in this business where that's really in fashion, too. It's in right now for things to be real and look real. Like, the beautiful people have not gone anywhere. Like, that's always here to stay. But we like
I'm still here.
Right? Jerry's still here. Jerry's still here.
The beautiful Jerry is still here.
But no, but really, like, because, when you were 22, 25, you were, like, hanging out with all the coolest kids in Hollywood and living the Hollywood life,
career, but
right?
I have
but that
stories.
was your life.
Yeah.
And now you're a mom and a wife, and you are an actress and an artist, and I really think that the parts that are coming to you in this next chapter, like you said, as a new person.
Yeah.
I think that they're really interesting.
Yeah.
And also, I think the competition drops because a lot of people drop. A lot of people drop out. So if you come in, they're like, oh, look at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So, yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, I guess my advice is, like, don't worry so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't worry so much. Like, your kids are young for a very short amount of time. And when you look back, you're not going to say, I regret spending all that time with my kids in the first 2 years of their life and not, like, booking a CW show.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to...
That's so great.
I think it's a career that actually, I feel really fortunate that I got to spend a lot of time with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just hanging out, going on the ride together, as opposed to maybe some other careers.
Yeah.
Where I just would come home, maybe the dad normally wouldn't be home all the time, but I got to spend some QT time with my kid.
Did you have conversations with your spouse, either of you, about the time that you need to prepare for work or any of that sort of stuff in combination with them being at work all day? How is that dynamic?
He works very close, and he works at an office, but he can leave. He's flexible. So he's like, I'll leave if you need me to come home for an hour, if you need to go do something or go to an audition or whatever. Like, very supportive in that way.
That's great.
Yeah.
You're still a team.
Great.
You're still working it out together.
That's great.
I think part of the actor's job and what they become really good at is managing their day anyways. What do I have to knock down today? And you just start ordering it and making things work. So I think you've sorted it out on your own. And if you can't, then you ask for help.
That's really great. So I do want to get back to this show thing and the opportunities that you feel comfortable with. Can we talk about that? Like you had said about the series regular audition and these sorts of things, and just the conversations that you have with your reps, because I think a lot of people have feelings about that. Like, how do I get into this conversation with my reps?
I've never been great at having those conversations. I think, doing a lot of commercials early on in my career kind of trained me to be like, to not stress out when I'm not getting a lot, and to not also expect that when things are going really well, that should always continue. I just sort of take what's given me, and you get your opportunities, and then your resume grows, and that alone will speak for itself after a while.
Clarity is really what it is. It's like, now when I go back, I have more of an understanding of what I want and like what's worth my time. Like
your time becomes more valuable.
Yes. So do I want to either take Sheldon away from work or pay somebody to come and watch my kids for X amount of hours to work on sides and go to an audition that I don't really care about?
Yeah. Or
the material
think that you can get. Sometimes that's true, because as an actor, you get a lot of opportunities that you're like, they're going to cast this other person.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I'm an option, but I know I'm not the option. Right.
So it's like you kind of, like, for me, I know there's just more clarity in that way that I'm not, when I decide to go back, I feel like I'm just having more of an understanding of what I want and what's right for me and what's worth my time. Yeah.
The flip side of all of that is whenever something doesn't feel right for you, going towards it always feels like the best option. Or when things seem really difficult, or maybe that part seems so far from me, it seems like every choice, whenever you have that choice and you make the more difficult one and you go towards something that seems not likely to happen, it happens.
Yes.
Like, it feels like there's some weird correlation between when your body's when the world's telling you you don't have the time or you shouldn't do this, and you force yourself to do it because it'll be good for you, good things usually happen down that path.
But wait, Vanessa and Jerry, wait. I have to interrupt you.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you shit you didn't know about your union.
Okay, so for today on Shit You Don't Know About Your Union, we are going to talk about two things. I just want to do a point of clarification because Derek Menn asked me a question about the zoning for set to set versus portal to portal, and he was sort of assuming that every time you go out of town, it's going to be your sign-in time is when you arrive to set and when you leave set. That's not the case. If the staff is all there, not just the shooting location, but the production staff is all there, that's when it's set to set. But if the staff is all in Los Angeles or the staff is all in New York, then it's still portal to portal. So then it would be hotel to hotel. So just, find that out when you get there. Find out where accounting is. Find out where the producers and writers are. Also, I want to talk about flashbacks. This is a thing in our contract that was clarified. I'm just going to read it to you real quick. It basically says that if they use you in a flashback, you get paid. So if you're in an episode and then in like 6 episodes later, they use the episode that you were in, you get paid the same rate that you got paid in the episode that you originally did. So you basically like get 2 episodes for one. You can't negotiate for a higher salary. They just pay you whatever you did in the old episode, they pay you. That's also, I believe, true for photography, use of photography. So say you did an episode, like Falk did an episode of Revenge, and they used his photo in another episode, and he didn't know about it because I'm super obsessed with Revenge. I told him about it, and he got paid another episode, which is super great. So if they use like a photograph picture of like this guy, we saw him hanging out with that person, and that guy is you get money. So if you see your face, if your face is on another episode of television, you get paid another episode. Yay! Get that money! Cha-ching!
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
So I do a section called 5 Questions where I ask everybody. So what's the hardest thing about the business for you?
Not knowing if you'll make the same money next year as you did this year and every previous year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the not knowing.
Yeah, it's weird because when I started, you're like, oh, I don't know if I'll make this money again. But then you keep making the money. But then you still are like, well, next year I can make no money.
It always feels permanent, that thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, that for me
and
too.
The vacations, like I realized that I've gotten to my life where I treat my travel jobs as my vacations, and that hurts my family.
Yes.
Like my wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to go on a real vacation.
I know. I need a real vacation. But it's also weird now because I'm also working really hard at my production company and stuff. But yeah, so those are kind of the 2 things.
The hardest thing, yeah, I guess the uncertainty, and in the sense of like the self-awareness and understanding of like in the beginning, it's so hard to be like, am I good? Do you like me? Mm-hmm. And like letting that go. That was the hardest thing for me.
Letting that go is everything. And you can't fake it.
And that's really hard. Mm-hmm. Because you love it so much, right?
Yes.
And when you love something, you want it so badly.
And it's also you. You
yeah,
want the product.
You. Yeah.
And you love you, so you want other
and
people
you
to love you.
But it's loving yourself in a way that is
healthy.
Is healthy and isn't needy for other people.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
And what is the best part about the business for you?
I mean, I love that it takes so many people to create something. I think it's not, for as selfish as we are as actors, we can't work unless everyone's working, and everyone can't work unless we're working. Like it's truly a group collaborative effort to create a piece of art like that. And I think that is something magical.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the collaborations and the friendships that have come from the collaborations and the coming together and creating other stuff together. You're just really learning. There's so much more than, I mean, if you really want to look at it, acting is just a department.
Right.
And there are so many departments that make it come together, and to fully start touching them all and understanding it. And then you're touching, with other artists. And people are artists in different ways.
Yes.
Totally.
And that
Which is
it's all
huge.
of the floating artists together.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It is a symphony, right? It's just everyone's not a musician. Everyone's all of these things working together to create this thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that too. And so why acting?
I don't know. I've just always been a performer, I guess.
Uh-huh.
I grew up doing it. I don't know. I guess I don't have like an answer of like why. Mm-hmm. It's just in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's just something I love.
Yeah.
Why acting? Why acting?
Why would you make such a foolish choice?
But I do love it for so many reasons. Like I love storytelling, and I love moving people, and I love watching good art and being affected, and I love that I can affect other people in the way that I get affected. Like it's all that.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it now, connecting all the dots backwards, because I never thought about being an actor, but I needed acting to become an artist, because I was not. I was like a frat boy science guy, and I needed the last 15-20 years of my career to reach me to the point where I am now, where I'm directing and producing. I needed that
to get you in,
to understand it, to legitimize, and at the time I didn't understand it, but now I look back and I realize that was the most important thing for me. The transition from the
Frat
bubble frat guy, you know, to where I am now.
What do you wish that somebody had told you or managed to get you to understand when you were just thinking about this career as a dreamer, thinking about getting in?
Focus. Vanessa, focus.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was wild. I wish I had a little more Audrey Moore in me when I was younger.
It's so interesting because I think that's part of what was always so great about your casting is that you have that girl in you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of actresses are like these drama student girls like me, and we're like, I'm so focused, I do say, and then like, but a lot of writers write wild girls.
Yeah.
They write girls that are wild and a good time, and I just, for the life of me, was never going to be able to do that. If I got into a room with you, for all of my acting training in the world, I just would never be able to deliver it to the degree that you would be able to deliver it. And I always thought it was such a great part. And so I'm so excited now that you have that still, and also this new part of this mom and this wife and all that, to bring both of those together, because I think that writers are also writing a lot of that.
So like Mommy Dearest is like
no, not Mommy Dearest. I would say more like Casual, more like Catastrophe, more like those shows where even this, you know, sitcoms. Like I think there's a lot of those men and who are the writers. Unfortunately, more writers, women. A lot of those writers who are writing about their families, and now that they have families, and they're writing about their wives and that experience. And I think you'll really be able to bring a lot to that.
It's important to know that it's not a race, and it's really a matter of attrition, and it's a marathon, and you know, it's never how you start, it's always how you finish.
It's so interesting because I have so many people that I've asked that question to, and a lot of people say that, and it just makes me, I remember myself at like 27, and when people say that to me, I want to like shoot myself in the throat violently, because I was just so upset that it wasn't faster, because I felt that I was ready, and I was so devastated that nobody cared. And impatient, and really impatient.
You know why? Because you were probably very talented. I didn't have that problem, so I never felt like I deserved anything right away. So I was always very...
I didn't think I deserved it right away. I just guess I felt like
you want to be noticed for it.
Well, I wanted some results, I guess, is what I thought.
You're like, I work really hard.
That was it.
Doing X, Y, isn't this happening right
Well, away. I felt that I worked hard on the business side, and I worked hard on the acting side, and so where was my shit?
There's no rhyme or reason.
Because in any other career,
I mean,
there would have been.
There's no ladder to climb.
That's
There's no rhyme or reason.
That's
and, you know, everyone, I think I said earlier, breaks in a completely different way.
And I just want people to hear that who are listening, if you're in the place of, like, wanting to shoot yourself in the throat and somebody says, war of attrition, like, just know that that is real and that's valuable, and just to be gentle on yourself and enjoy the ride. The other thing that I've discovered through all these interviews too is the understanding that this is the career. The push forward constantly is the career. It's not that you arrive somewhere. It's because I have friends who've, as you do, I know, Vanessa's like the most hooked up person in Hollywood, you guys. She knows everybody. It's so crazy.
Biggest name dropper in Hollywood.
She's not actually. She actually is really best friends with all of them, truly. But she's so funny. And so she knows people who are wildly famous and successful, and they're still pushing, right?
It never stops.
It never stops.
I mean, it really shouldn't, and it should never stop.
Yeah, that's right. But that's something to me I wish I could have understood.
Right.
Is that the work is the acting and the push for the career at the same time. That's the career.
That's
the career is like it's the artist's journey. It's not the TV like can I be a series regular journey. It's really just if you're gonna keep growing, it should never stop.
That's so good. The career is the artist's journey is so great.
Copyrighted.
Okay, so what is your biggest struggle right now, personally or professionally?
The struggle is the work, and that's the good part. I've really embraced the grind. I love working. I want to now. I mean, it's a joke, right? I do yoga in the morning with the kids, but
Jerry does work
I work
very
about 14
hard.
hours a day. I'm going nonstop. I love it, and I look at it like I was chilling hard for 35 years, and now I've got 25 years of the hardest work in me anyone's ever seen. So there is no struggle. The struggle is the good part.
Yeah, good.
The struggle, I don't know, man. The struggle is different day to day.
The struggle is real.
I mean,
she's in it with 2 kids.
love
when
Vanessa
my daughter,
so
shit her pants at Golden Road Brewery, that was pretty rough. Made me realize that, I'd love to go to a casting office just for a no. Just so somebody didn't say, nope, not your part. But
that's funny.
Yeah,
Very good.
I have to pee really badly.
Okay, well, quickly. This is the part of social media where you can plug yourself or something that you want to talk about.
I mean, if you want to see baby pictures, I'm on Instagram.
Yeah, tell them where they can find you on Instagram.
At Vanessa Celso.
And spell your name so people know.
VANESSA CELSO.
Very good.
Well, my production company is Hero LA. We're a film and commercial production company, and We Are Fathers is a web series I wrote and directed that's now doing the festivals and getting nominated for stuff, and we just screened at Sony. So it's cool to have that come full circle.
Cool.
Yeah.
And are you on social media or anything that anyone can find you?
At True Ying is my personal Instagram. At Hero LA is our company Instagram. At We Are Fathers is our... Well, we neglect that one. But they've all got Facebooks.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Mildly interesting. So this can be something that you recommend, something that you learned.
Well, because we're on the topic of kids, and that's my life right now, I've discovered this website. It's like Airbnb, but for kids' houses, and it's called Kid and Coe, COE, and their houses all over the world, and it makes me wonder why I live in such a garbage child's house, because they're like the most beautifully curated kids' home, like places that kids live that you can go like on a vacation with your family. It's insane. I like follow them on Instagram. I'm obsessed. I just like want to go to the Hamptons every weekend and then like go to Morocco and like there's like a kids' room and
how magical.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's
like me and my family can travel the world.
It's so good. No,
but it's awesome.
Good.
I have to pee so badly I can't think anymore.
Come on, just one thing. There you can go.
What was the question again?
Mildly interesting.
I really can't think. What does that mean? What's mildly interesting?
Something fun. That's like, oh, I just discovered this.
I just discovered. I don't know if this is mildly interesting, but I just realized recently like that the Civil War is kind of an ironic title, and I never thought about that till the other day. I had this weird driving moment. I was like, wait, it's called the Civil War. But it really was the most uncivil thing ever. Mm-hmm. But then did it start that way because it was like a friendly dispute between brothers, North and South, and that was civil, and then it just devolved into the most...
It's interesting. I wonder what the title came from.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Literally was driving my car and I had to call a friend about that.
And did he say what it came from? Did he know?
He said he never thought about it either.
We'll have to call Hunter Motz. He'll know.
Hunter, yeah.
Strange,
Hunter
right? Did you ever think about that?
No.
It's called the Civil War.
Okay. For my mildly interesting, I want to talk about the Huntington Library and Gardens.
Oh, it's beautiful.
In Los Angeles. If you live in Los Angeles, see, forever I thought the Huntington Gardens was the Descanso Gardens. I thought they were the same thing. Oh my God, you guys. I go there and it's just so stunning. It's beautiful.
Wait, why don't you text me when you go there?
Well, I went there. No, I'm going to.
Yeah.
I went there with him for anniversary, but I will go and I will text you.
You mean you didn't want to hang out with my children on your anniversary? Jesse.
Next time.
Next time. Thank you guys so much for coming over and giving me your Saturday morning. I hope that was helpful for people who are thinking about having kids or thinking about pursuing this career and having children as part of their dream, and also to the people sitting at home with their newborns crying. I think
good luck.
Good luck. It gets better. Next week on Audrey Helps Actors, we talk to Amy Linden. Yay, I'm so excited. So Amy Linden is a career coach and also a acting coach. She teaches, she has webinars, she has a book, she's got an audition technique. I use her technique to help me break down scripts and to book jobs. I have booked jobs because of her technique. I'm certain that that's true. And she has worked with me on casting. She's worked with so many friends that I know on casting. She really changes careers. I can't express that enough, what a fan I am of her and her work. She knows that I am. This is totally unsolicited on her part. I'm such a fan of her that I'm like, Amy, let's talk. And she's like, okay. So I'm not getting any like cool kickback or anything from it. I just love her, and I want you guys to go to people that are good, that I trust, that are reputable, and she certainly has the Audrey Helps Actors stamp of approval. So be excited. She's phenomenal. This show is produced and edited by Jesse Lumen. He is a writer, director, producer, and virtual reality genius and wizard. If you are creating a current virtual reality experience, please look him up and get in contact with him because he is on it. Special thanks this week to Jerry, Ying, and Vanessa Celso for coming over and taking time away from their families, their careers, their spouses, their lives. I think it's a really lovely episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Also, special thanks to Thomas Snodgrass for the mic assistance and providing us with an extra mic here and there. And special thanks to Aalok Mehta for all of his help and work on the theme song. Music this week by Ari De Niro. All right, until next time, don't forget your towel.